We okay?
Yes.
Let me call the Town of Lake Clark Shores Code Enforcement Board hearing to order for tonight. It's October 23, 2024. It's about 6:32 p.m. And the reason I'm calling it to order is our chairman and vice chair are absent. So I think the first order of business for the board would be to select one of the present members to chair the meeting for this evening.
I nominate Deb Moody.
Second.
We got a second and a third.
Okay, we have a motion. Was there, there was a second?
Yep.
Anyone else to be nominated? Why don't we have a vote on all in favor of Deb Moody being the chairperson?
Aye.
Aye.
I guess I.
You can vote no if you want. Okay, and why don't we go on to the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, we have to do the roll call first.
Okay.
Chair Paul Hughes, Vice Chair Gerard Sanchez, Board Member Deb Moody.
Here.
Board Member Wesley Cook.
Here.
Board Member Miguel Espinosa.
Here.
Board Member Patricia Keough.
Here.
Board Member Henry L. Stout.
Okay, now on to the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You sent me this. Okay. This will be fun. Okay. I'm going to ask for an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, consent agenda. We have the approval of the minutes of the September 25th Code Enforcement Board hearing and cases now in compliance.
Good evening. Cases that are now in compliance, starting on page 1. Case 24-00291 is in compliance. On page 2, case 24-0318 is in compliance. Case 24-0325 is in compliance. Case 24-0336 is in compliance. Case 24-0338 is in compliance. Case 24-0341 is in compliance. On page 3, case 24-0344 is in compliance. At the bottom of the page, cases 24-0367 and case 24-0368 are in compliance. And that concludes all cases that are now in compliance.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Okay, I think we usually do disclosure of visits at each particular case, so. Do we have anyone that needs to be sworn in as witnesses? If you would please stand and raise your right hand so that the town attorney can swear you in.
And anyone who will be testifying in a case, if you could please stand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give me the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, unfinished cases and fine imposition hearings. I think the first case that we're going to hear is on page 3.
Ms. Moody, permission to take the agenda out of order, please.
Okay,
For the first case, with permission, could we please hear case 24-0346?
okay.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon, representing the town of Lake Clark Shores. This is case number 24-0346. Site property owner is identified by confidential. Site property address is 7622 Nemick Drive South, Lake Clark Shores, Florida, 33406. Give me a second. A notice of violation was issued on 9/10/2024 for the following violation. Section 10-91 alpha, shed in the backyard was installed without a permit. A notice of hearing was issued on 10/11/2024. And as of today's date, the violation still exists. Just a little backstory on this. The property owner is here, does want to speak. When the owner did get this violation, he did come into the police department. He has a few issues that he brought up. He did bring a site survey showing his property line. He does have a few concerns that he wants to address to the board. I'm going to allow him to speak on that. As for my recommendation, the resident did inform me that he is already going to be removing the shed. I believe giving him an additional 60 days should be fine. I did speak to him. He said 30 days would be good, but I believe we should give him 60. And with that, the residents here to speak to the board. Sir.
I'm resident 7622 South, as Mr. Eric had stated. I received these photos in the mail.
Sir, can you just move the mic up a little bit? Thank you.
I received these photos in the mail. My issue is the way the photos were taken. I wasn't with the officer from code enforcement. I was a third-party building inspector who submitted these photos to him or to code enforcement. I received the violation. The way my site or my property is set up, the building inspector walked within my property line and walked around back, meaning he was trespassing to receive these photos. The complaint was put in from my neighbor. Apparently the neighbor gave him consent to cross into my property line. So I suggested that the photos shouldn't be used for the citation. But again, the citation's there. So I just want to bring it up to you guys as.
Also, members of the board, just so you know, this initial complaint did come in from his neighbor. There's an ongoing dispute between those neighbors and the HOA. Unfortunately, this is a new resident to the town, and he's been kind of dragged into it. Manny was the one who went to the property. I'm going to allow Manny to speak, so I'm not going to speak for someone.
Manny Palacios, zoning officer for the town of Lake Clark Shores. I did go out to the property, I believe the first week in September, on a complaint from the next door neighbor regarding a proposed fence and gate for his property. The property owner adjacent to Mr. Patrick mentioned that there was an easement between this gentleman's property and the property owner adjacent to him. And the purpose for the proposed fence was to try to cut down on walking traffic that goes alongside his fence and around. Now, his statement is somewhat misleading. He's indicating that his property had been trespassed. Well, he's got a fence that goes along the side and all the way around the rear. Between the rear of his property, there's an open space and a pond. The owner, Patrick, took me around the back to show me that he doesn't understand why the town can't issue him his permit for the fencing. I told him I could get him a fencing permit if he gets the letter from the HOA. But in my walking around, I saw his shed, took a picture, and handed it to the code enforcement officer, and that was that. But I had nowhere near did I cross over that fence and into your property, sir.
Am I able to speak?
Sure.
All right, so whether he's saying he didn't step onto my property, it's besides the point. It's a no trespassing sign that the HOA put up directly in the path that I allow the HOA to take care of their pond for the most part, because it's just an agreement we have. So no trespassing sign. So that means whether it's the neighbor or code enforcement or building inspector walking around there, they were still trespassing behind my property line. Whether there's a fence there or not, it's still considered trespassing. If you guys want to see this.
Is there a fence
I mean,
between your
just-
property?
he's gonna walk, he's gonna fence.
Yes. No, the way it is explained here.
That's a common area. That's HOA property.
So my property line goes all the way.
No, that's not his property. It's HOA.
I put a fence here
Right.
to allow easement.
Correct, so that's your property there, is what you're saying. He
So
crosses
then
the
you
property.
walk around through the back.
Correct.
Took a photo
Understood.
From the easement?
from behind my fence.
Yeah, so what he's saying is, he has a fence that goes this way.
Yeah.
But Manny went here, and then this triangle.
But isn't that the easement?
Well, there's 6-foot easements on each side, but the property line is the solid line.
Mhm.
But what did, I'm sorry, Patrick, right? Mr. Patrick?
My name's
Herrera. Okay, Mr. Herrera is saying that this triangle of property belongs to him.
Mhm.
His fence is here, right? So it comes down whatever line here and it cuts through here. So this corner is sitting out there as free area, but it actually belongs to him because it goes all the way to this wall that divides his property with whatever property's on this side.
And where is the shed located?
I'm gonna presume somewhere in here.
Right here. Circle right here.
Oh, okay. That's right. there.
And where's the no trespassing?
Around this area over here, right before the pond. And when you
So-
walk, you should see there's no trespassing, HOA property, stuff like that. That's
For the pond?
For the pond. But I, before moving in agreement with the HOA saying, instead of fencing off my fence line all the way to the Florida Mango wall, and not to fight it, I said, I'll fence off enough so a car could fit to the
Yes.
pond, to take care of the
Yes.
pond. Because
So
like 20 feet
This
wasn't
is
zero.
your neighbor's property here?
Correct, so his fence line stops right there.
So then.
So he can't walk around, there's nowhere to go because this is a wall.
So in order for HOA to access this pond, they have to go to this gentleman's property and cut through yours to get to the pond.
Correct, this blue line?
No, I understand what a property line is. I'm just making sure that I'm understanding it correctly, so.
Correct, so the easement, yes.
So, yeah, but regardless whether it's an easement or not, that easement still belongs to them and this easement belongs to you.
Correct.
But the HOA travels through this gentleman's property, but then accesses the pond through your property,
No,
right
it's
here.
a weird property. My fence is here, he doesn't have a fence. So the HOA walks or goes through the blue line and then crosses over. So
But
they go on both of our sides. It's a 6-foot,
Right.
12-foot path.
right, well, because you're counting the entire easement, but that line in the middle divides both property. That's a property line,
Correct, my property.
right? But
So 6-foot
It's-
easement
it's
is
yours
on
and
your
it's theirs.
side?
unfortunately, right? Because it's this thing. But this dark line represents the property line.
Correct, and I have a fence here.
Do you have a fence, do you have a fence on the property line or on the
On
easement?
the easement.
Okay.
Permanent, because I want no issue with fighting for, or having people come. by.
Okay, so his fence is on the easement
Solid
line,
line.
It's on the easement?
on the easement line, which means,
Okay.
I can explain that.
All right, yeah.
So he didn't put it on the property line, because if he had put it on the property line, he would have to have gotten consent forms
Yeah.
from FPNL and AT&T, Comcast, in order for him to put the fence there. So he's saying he put it here to work with the HOA, right? So these first 6 feet are accessible. And then this triangle here is also accessible.
Mhm.
So his comment in regards to, so that you understand, Manny, his comment about the trespassing part is that whether you walked on the other gentleman's property or his property, when you crossed through here to access the canal, you crossed through his property.
Yeah, and can I just clarify something here? Initially, I said to the owner, Patrick, I says, no, I can't go back there. He says, no, that's HOA property. We can go. So I didn't arbitrarily on my own decide, let me go walk through there. The owner, your neighbor said that it was HOA property and it was okay for us to go there. So and on top of it, I didn't see no trespassing sign.
Yeah, but it's.
So my
duty
point is
for us
this,
to verify.
I would not have done that on my own. The neighbor who I went to go see was the one that walked me back there and showed me that. If it's a trespassing thing, then I apologize, but I didn't do it on my own. That neighbor walked me back there.
Bill, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
For a resolution of this, if the property owner would agree, could we say that going forward, anytime there may be a violation that a neighbor is complaining about on his property, if it would go past that mark, that we'd have to get permission from the property owner? Would you be okay with that? Instead of this ever happening again, if anyone ever wants to cross that line, before they do so, they knock on your door, give you a phone call, get permission first, and whether you say yes or no, that's the decision. And based on what your decision is what happens. Is that something that could be agreeable, Bill?
If agreeable to the owner, yes.
Okay.
No, I only allow the HOA to go back there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you could deny consent.
Yeah.
If, say, the town called and said, hey, we want to get back there. I mean, you could say no.
Yeah, all I'm saying is just to get a resolution so this never happens again, we're putting it on record that we will not cross that line without your permission.
That's good. I consent to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And in the meantime, I guess you're going to remove the shed anyway.
Correct. The biggest thing was just using photos from a third party to issue a citation without either the actual code enforcement officer taking the pictures of whatever the citation should be. That was my biggest concern.
Okay. Okay. So are you good with a 60-day timeframe to remove it?
That'll work.
But you originally agreed to remove it within 30 days.
Correct. Just because
I'm unclear as to why you feel it needs additional time.
I believe there's no meeting, he said.
The reason I recommended 60 is because of the issues that arose because this is a new resident to the town. I believe just giving a little extra time shows good faith from the town. This is not a shed that is of any health and safety risk. I did see it when the resident came in. Me and Lieutenant Fisher went to his property per his request. He actually walked us back there, showed it to us. So it doesn't pose any threat. And per the conversation we had, he already looked up the codes. He knows about the wind load. He was very respectable. He's been nothing but respectable. So I think to show good faith for the issue that he's having, 60 days just to give peace of mind.
As part of that, can you agree to allow 60 days from now, Eric to come on your property to look for that shed?
Correct, sir. I consent to that.
Or
It has to be cleared.
as soon as it's off, you call Eric and say, hey, it's gone, come check it at any time.
Yes,
You can come on your property.
yes, sir.
Can I ask, is there a variance issue why you want to remove it and not just get a permit for it?
Because it doesn't meet the code standards to 141 mile an hour.
Oh, okay,
It's
gotcha.
just a cheap little storage shed.
And if I may also add to it, there is a setback. I don't think you met the side setback. It was up against your property. It's 3 feet from the side and 3 feet from the rear. But I think the rear you're fine, but I think the side might have been a problem.
Well,
Yeah,
if I may, if his fence is on the utility easement line, Manny, if his fence is on the utility easement line, he's 6 feet in from his property line on the neighboring side, correct? So then on the rear side would be to the pond and I'm not sure how close he is to that. Based on the picture, doesn't look like he's that close.
Well, his property line doesn't go to the pond.
Is this the neighbor here? This long one here?
On the other side of that fence, 6 feet over.
Right, but this is the neighboring fence.
That's my fence, correct?
Correct, yeah, but that's the one that you have on the utility easement line. That divides
Yes.
you with your neighbor.
Yes, sir.
So beyond that fence, he still has 6 feet. And then
No.
he's
I do.
plenty of space here. So he would be, I mean.
Well, I'm just surmising that he didn't by the look, because I had assumed that the fence was his
on the
property line.
Property line, correct.
And at the permitting process, he will submit a survey with the detailed dimensions
Correct,
how far they
yeah.
are.
The only hurdle he would have would be the meeting the wind code for the shed. I guess, I understand.
Well, they look like a sturdy shed. I don't think he'll have much problem with that.
If he can't get a product approval for it, I don't know where he got it from, but if you can get a product approval for it, then you should be okay.
Was the shed there when you moved in or you put it
I'm
in?
about to say yes, but no, it was not. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Okay, any further questions?
No.
Can we have a motion?
Mhm.
I'll make one.
Thank you.
We'll take it out of order again. 'cause
Based on the testimony and evidence.
We'll hear Mr. Hines.
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-0346, I move this board waives continue this matter for the board hearing on
December
December
5th, is it? Is it the
December
5th?
4th, December 4th.
Don't we need the finding of violation first?
No, he's waiving it. Or no, he's,
I'm just
Continuing.
continuing. I'm
Okay.
not sure with what we have here that it is a violation. It's a violation because it doesn't meet the wind code, but it's.
What would be a violation because there's no permit? I mean, they-
Without a permit.
Yeah. Now, you could maybe get a permit, and it sounds like maybe there is not a setback or
But
Uh,
Dylan said he didn't want to have a permit.
he didn't, you want to take it down
yeah,
anyway.
he's taking it
Right.
down.
Saying that,
Yeah.
all right.
Doesn't meet the code standards of 140 mile an hour. Unless you guys want to prove it. Or send it for a permit.
All right, then let
I
me
think he's been,
retract that.
Yeah.
he's been very amicable.
And based on testimony evidence presented in case number 24-0346, I move this board find the response in violation of sections 10-91 sub A
I just need you for the
of the
hot
town
case.
code
Is there
ordinance.
any
The
enclosure?
respondent shall comply with the ordinance
one.
on before December 4th, 2024. If the respondent fails to comply with this order in a timely fashion, find the amount not to exceed $100 per day may be imposed. Fine assessment hearing will be held on December 4th, 2024 if necessary.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right,
You understand why we have to find you in violation. There's no penalty until, as long as you get it out of there by December 4th.
Correct, understood.
Okay, good.
okay. Let's go back to case number 240343. Nuevo Mar LLC, 7512 Edgewater Circle.
Ms. Moody, can we please take the agenda out of order? That case doesn't have anyone present for it. We do have the residents and the complainants here for the following case. So can we please hear case 24-0345?
Okay,
And just so you know, once I complete hearing this one, even though case 24-0344 is in compliance, the complainants do want to bring some stuff to the board's attention and do want to submit evidence. So we'll hear the one that's still in violation first. And with your permission, I would like to explain case 24-0344 and allow the complainants and the property owner to speak.
okay.
All right. Good evening. I'm Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon, representing the town of Lake Clark Shores. This is case number 24-0345. Site property owners are identified by John L. Hyatt and Deborah A. Hyatt. Site property is identified by 6400 Carambola Circle, Lake Clark Shores, Florida. Give me 1 second. A notice of violation was issued on 9/10/2024 for the following violations. Section 10-91 subsection A, an animal enclosure was installed without permits. A notice of hearing was issued on 10/11/2024 as of today's date, these photos were taken showing that the violations still exist. The backstory on this is that the complainants who are the neighbors here contacted code enforcement, informed me about the structure. I gave Manny, the building inspector, a call because they allowed Manny to go onto their property to see it from their side. Manny was able to initially snap violation photos in which he had sent to me. Mr. Hyatt, upon finding about this violation, went to town hall, spoke to Melissa in the building department. Melissa, I'll let you take it over. Melissa continued the process. She'll fill that in, and then I'll give you a little more information. So Melissa.
Hi, I'm Melissa Espinoza from the building department. Mr. Hyatt came to me and he told me that he had violations and that he wanted to get a permit. So he's in the process right now of getting a permit.
Yeah, so he needs an engineer letter, but there's also a small issue with South Florida Water Management. So he has to clear a few things with South Florida Water Management and get an engineer letter. So that's the only thing holding it up. And Manny, can you speak on you going on to Mr. Sheehan's property to take the photos and see what you saw?
I was called out there from the neighboring property owner. Her complaint was that not that the structures, but that there was a real pungent odor, acidy type odor from the cats. We walked to the back of her property, then we walked along the canal, and I was able to get a small whiff of the odor. She says, well, that's just really light. Wait till the wind blows this towards us, and then you really get a strong scent of what's going on over there. She says sometimes in the evening, they can't even get out on their patio because the scent is so strong. That's when I took pictures of that, and I realized, wait, that looks like additions. So I took the photographs, checked with Melissa to see if permits had been taken out for the addition, the cat enclosures, and then we issued my report to Eric, and then he proceeded with the NOVs to the property owner.
Members of the board, if you want to see, these are the cat boxes that were in question that Manny's talking about, just to get a visual. These were taken today showing that they are in fact clean. This is the cleaning station for the cat boxes. Bear with me. As you can see in this photo, all of them are clean. So I just want to give a visual representation for that.
Can I ask how many cats are there?
When the property owner comes up, they can speak. I can't give you an exact amount, but to finish on with this, because Mr. Hyatt is in the process of working on the permit, because he does need an engineer's letter, and because he has to get a little bit of approval from South Florida Water Management, it's my recommendation to give 60 days to come into full compliance. If not, $100 a day fine may be imposed. Melissa, does 60 days sound doable?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So the building department says that this could be done and completed within 60 days.
Just so you know, he's got a survey and he's just waiting for the engineer to tell him if he really needs this or not. An engineer's letter.
Why would he not need it?
Well, he doesn't know if he does or not. I'm telling him yes, but he's just confirming with the engineering company.
Okay.
And the property owners are here and would like to speak, and then the complainants would also like to speak.
Okay.
John.
Property owner? Good evening.
Hi,
Hi.
John Hyatt, 6400 Carambola Circle, West Palm Beach, Florida. We've been there about 20 years. And Debbie has a little cat rescue thing, and she did a lot of TNVR, if you know what that means. TNVR is tax, vaccinate, neuter, and return, and people adopt the cats from us, including a few of the neighbors around us that have adopted cats from her. built this add-on thing back here because we were having trouble for somebody shooting our cats and being brazen about it. You know all about it. Anyways, so, and when we moved in there, the place was like a rat infested place, joint fit for a TV special. Well, the cats within a few, probably at that point, we had 5, 6 or 8 of them, 10 of them, maybe, I don't know. They come and go. You never know. You count them today and they're different tomorrow. Anyway, so the cats wiped out the rats within a year or two's time. There wasn't a single rat there. I mean, you get one maybe every 6 months. So now all of a sudden the cats aren't in favor of certain people. So we started shooting them. It's all right. And then, the things went on a little bit farther. The complainant texts me and says, if you don't keep them cats out of my yard, we're going to go back to the old way. I said, you mean shooting the cats? You shoot one more cat and you're getting those wreckers out of there. Because I always is running a tow and recovery wrecker outfit out of a residential neighborhood, all hours of day and night, during the day, trying to store trucks there. The issue ain't the trucks there, how much the truck weighs. The issue is he's running a commercial business towing, 2 o'clock in the morning, here he goes, 3 o'clock in the morning, some nights.
Mr. Hyatt,
Yeah, I think we're getting far astray.
No, I'm giving you some background on it.
Yeah, well, I know, but the only issue for this board is the permit issue.
Oh, okay, so he turns me in for this thing to you guys. He's in the county, he's not in Lake Clark, about no permit for that building. I said, okay, so I come over here because they left me a little violation on there. And so he says, so I told him, I said, look, give me a permit. You guys have permits here. And they looked at me skeptical because all of it is an animal thing. It's a kennel, a little bit overgrown kennel. It's wooden deck. It's got a fence wire like you see around a construction zone. So at any rate, I said, just give me a permit, sell me a permit, whatever it is, $50, $100.
members of the board, if you want to see the photos.
Just give me a permit.
No, we're talking about a building permit, right? I mean,
Well, whatever. I mean, so they're all skeptical. I said, look, it doesn't matter if it's made out of paper mache, just sell me a permit. And Eric said, that's a good idea. That way, when the next person who comes and complains about it, you've got, it's permitted. You got a permit. As far as the water management goes, I've got a permit for that backyard. It's over about this much over there right of way, but it's already in a permit there. My dock was permitted. I got a large oak tree in the backyard that's permitted. And also, and besides that, the permit includes all trees and bushes as they're in there.
So you have an agreement with them for that?
Yes,
Okay.
whatever that is, agreement, permit, whatever they have. I don't know what they have,
Mhm.
but.
It's an easement agreement, right?
It is, it's an easement
Okay.
agreement from South Florida
Yeah.
Water Management.
Is it specific to just the dock? Or will that agreement need to be
It
modified?
doesn't say, it's kind of vague. It doesn't say specific to anything.
They told me that it covered the building sticking about this far over the easement, the little plastic roof, and it covers, I have a great big oak tree. It covered that, a poinciana tree. It covered all this stuff that was on the east side of their easement, of their property line, a right-of-way line. Let's call it the right-of-way
Mhm.
on east of the right-of-way. And I got some kind of little cupola there that's been there for 40 years, way before we were there. The dock is, so a couple of friends of mine in high school one time ran through that dock with a ski boat 50 something years ago, 60 years ago. So the dock's elderly. The dock was crummy. So I just took it out to, just dismantled it. But anyway, so I asked them for it and they were skeptical at first. I said, look, whatever you got to do. That's it. Get me a permit. If you can write me one out, I can go get one. I can apply for one, whatever I've got to do to stop this. Next time it gets complained about, which it will, then they just say, no, he's got a permit. So that's why I need the permit. I want the permit.
Yeah, so
I've
Mr.
got
Hyatt,
my
you're just
engine-
asking for more time, right?
My engineer has abandoned me. I don't know why. We had an 18-foot glass, heavy glass, a double door and 2 side lights on each side put in. Home Depot sent it back to me. So we don't know anything about that. So I went and got this, Riz is his name, northwest corner of Forest Hill and Parker Avenue. He came out there, looked at it, measured everything, and he said, do you want a wind load? I said, I'd like to have everything you can put in there. So I've got a wind load, negative wind load, uplift, and pressure. So I've known the guy for some years and he's good at it. So I've been waiting on him. Now he's abandoned me somehow because I've been for the last 3 weeks. I've been going over there. Riz, I need this. Riz, when can you get it? Okay. And he's looking at like a permit for this. I said, Riz, just give me an engineer's drawing. So in the end, last week, I went in there Thursday. I said, what can you get me an engineer's drawing? Well, maybe a couple extra tie downs or something like that. It's just a kennel sitting on top of wood. I know. So Friday, I went in there. No, Thursday, I went in there and he said, I'll get to you next week. Somewhere in the week, I'll get to you. I'll call you. Okay. So Monday, I go in there. I tell you, hey, what's happened? I never heard from you. Wednesday, I got to be in Palm Springs. He said, I will be at your house between 10 and 11 today. Haven't seen him since. I went by there at 3 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then again at 4 o'clock. Nobody's even there. So I don't know, maybe he's mad at me or something. I don't know. Or maybe he's looking at this like.
So it sounds like you have two issues, both the utility agreement or the easement agreement rather, and
Now, which
the engineer's
easement?
letter.
You mean the easement between us and Palm Beach County?
yes,
Or you mean the
no, the water.
With South Florida.
South Florida? Okay. Yeah, that's all. That's a permit that included, when I moved in there, we moved in there, you had to get a permit. The permit from the dock transfers.
So you
So we
need
did
to
that.
modify that
You're-
permit to
just
add
a-
the structure,
Just give me
correct?
your.
No, they said it's all okay.
Then,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
you're.
It's been
So
there
that
for like
part is okay. The only thing you're waiting for is the engineer.
engineer's drawing for a permit that
And
you
then-
guys don't even have. You don't have permits for kennels.
Well, and that was my next question to staff is that going to be permitted for that type of use?
That's just it. That's up to you guys. But I'd like to have the permit anyway, because that stops. I mean, I've had.
Well,
No, wait, sir, she asked a question of the staff, so let them respond.
So we've never had this before, so I don't know.
what does
I mean-
the code say?
I mean, if he gets an engineer's letter, then he can do it. There's nothing in the code saying that he can't have this.
In the code, this is something that hasn't been seen, this particular type of structure for an animal enclosure. This one is new.
Well, but typically when I code, any code, if it doesn't say you can, then you can't, right?
It doesn't give you permission. It doesn't deny it.
Well, I mean, there's really two issues with that. One is the structure sound, and that's what the building code looks at, right?
Right.
Well,
And
That's the engineer's drawing.
right.
the issue with his permit is for the purpose of this letter from the engineer is that it meets the required wind loads. I mean, that all of that stuff can take off with a hurricane and now we've got projectiles.
But the other part of the
Can he do
approval
that?
process
Can he do that?
permit is, will zoning permit that use? Correct?
Backyard, totally backyard.
Well, there's,
Well,
yeah,
may-
there is that question, is the use permissible? Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So
there's
that's
also
my
the issue
question.
with the number of cats, maybe creating a health issue because the number of cats, I think the health department may have, or
Right.
the animal
So
control, there's only so many animals you can have.
I think the code probably says how many animals you can have, doesn't it?
I just took a quick look. I didn't see anything.
Oh, I looked too and I
Yeah.
didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Can we interject something?
So,
there?
Sure.
oh, I'm sorry.
I've been called on by the health department twice.
Okay.
And they came out, looked at it. I don't smell anything. There ain't nothing like that. I said, it's a vendetta thing. He's trying to decoy this away from something else, a big issue that's coming up, a very big issue. Anyways, and so we called on them twice, animal control 3 times. The animal control lady, they came back on their own. They said, hey, can we come back and look at this sometime and get some ideas? Sure. They came back, came in the house and looked all around, looked inside the catio. So this is great. I know. Anyway, so that's 5 times and it's going to keep going, keep going, keep going.
Excuse me, Mr. Hyatt,
Yes, ma'am.
can I say something?
Yes.
The health department did go out there and animal care and control, and there was no violation according to.
They
them.
closed every one of them. I said, he's going to call you again. A couple weeks, a month later, you were right. I said, I know. So it's just, it's a diversion, let's call it.
Okay, but a violation by the animal care and control is one thing, but a violation of the town code if the number of domestic animals is exceeded. And I'm not familiar with that section of the code if there is a limitation.
I don't see anything, Deb.
No, I didn't find anything that
I've
specifies
been
either.
looking for forever and I can't, there's nothing.
And
Okay.
Bill, same thing with you?
Well, I just learned about this tonight, but I didn't see anything right off. I mean, the other question would be, and that's not why we're here tonight, but I guess it could end up being a nuisance. You know, if there are odors or noises or whatever. I know cats aren't noisy, but you know, if there's something like that, it might violate a town code provision. But that's not why we're here.
Right, okay. I was thinking of it as it relates to the ability to get a permit, which is,
Well,
What-
that's not something you've ever issued a permit before, I'm sure.
Right.
And then they looked at me with skepticism and said, I know, I just need to get the permit because it puts a little thing there when the next person, just like go to animal control now and call them. They're just going to shake their head and say, sorry, we've been there. Sorry, we've been back. Sorry, we closed it every time. The same with the health department. After about 5 trips out there, they're getting the message.
Right.
So I'm just doing whatever, so I'm not a permit. So Melissa says, okay, an official permit, here's how it works. So she lays this out for me. You got to get a survey. I went and got the survey, which brought up more issues. Anyways, this is something different anyways. So I go and she also got to get an engineer's drawing. Okay, I got an engineer. So I'm getting this together. My engineers abandoned me. I'll go back after him tomorrow. And if I don't get him, hey, you know what? Mike Redaway, 2 houses.
Mr. Hyatt, we're kind of getting off topic. So the point
I
is,
think Miguel wants to ask you something.
Oh, okay.
Well, I not only do I want to ask Mr. Hyatt, I want to also talk to you guys because, you know, as a contractor here in Palm Beach County for 20 years, I haven't seen anything like this in somebody's property. And it doesn't mean that I haven't seen one. I think your engineer is going to be important because what an engineer is going to do is he's going to certify the structure. Right. That's the first thing that you need. The second thing we need to confirm with the code is it permissible to have said structure attached to a single family home within our zoning, right? So it's a zoning thing and it's a structural thing.
That could be classified just as an addition or what have not.
And my other question to you guys was, can it also be classified as a screen enclosure?
Yes.
Right? So my question to you, or my statement to you, I guess, would be, you have chain link. Is the chain link on all 3 sides?
Yes.
Your biggest issue is going to be the roof.
It's just plastic.
No, I understand that. The problem is that a roof has to be structurally attached to a structure. And you have chain link fence all around. So whatever the engineer says, talk to the engineer and figure out what you guys are going to do. Eric, I don't think 60 days, to be honest with you, is going to be enough.
okay, in
this gentleman to
your
solve
professional
the
opinion,
issue.
what would you recommend?
well, the issue is just applying for the permit.
Well, he obviously has no issue applying for the permit,
Right.
which is a great thing. The second thing is, if the town believes that the structure is permittable, then that's the next thing. But you need it, if he's gonna not respond to you, you need to find somebody else that will.
That was my next question. Mike Redaway's a neighbor. Anyways, he said that you guys have an engineer on staff.
I-
No, we can't.
Melissa,
No.
I mean,
Yeah, we can't give you our engineer to do it. I mean, I could
Can I
See if we
borrow him
have-
for a day?
I could give you maybe a list of engineers that we may or may not have. I haven't looked.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'll catch this guy eventually. He'll show
That's
up.
okay. So
If I-
if I have something, I could give it to you, but if I don't, I can't.
So-
Well, I'll give him another day. I mean, I'll be back over there tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll be back over there Monday. I'll be back
Hmm.
over there.
Mr. Hyatt, the next thing that you need to deal with is gonna be so that you don't get classified as a nuisance. Right?
Well, we haven't.
So whether it is your cleanliness or not, that's gonna be your next thing that you're gonna have to figure out how to face, because if not, Eric's gonna be over there every day.
Eric,
right?
Eric,
And also, members of the board, we do have the other residents who would like to speak.
Well, I think she wants to-
No, I'm letting them know.
My name's Deborah Hyatt. One of the things that we do is that catio gets cleaned, pressure cleaned. like every 6 weeks. The Board of Health has been there twice. They noticed nothing. Those boxes are taken out. I dump them inside my house so that the waste is not being dumped outside. I dump them inside my house, and then I go out, and maybe it's got a little bit of dust in there, and I rinse them out and then pour bleach and Clorox in them, bleach and
Dawn.
soap, and so I don't.
Melissa, I got a question for you. Should they have a business tax or anything like that because they're running a business out of their home?
Not a business.
Not a business.
Well,
Not
yeah, but
profit, yeah.
We can, whatever we can get, we'll leave-
Right.
they just, if you can.
well, that's what we're trying to do
No.
is to make sure that you guys are doing whatever you need to be
Right.
doing.
You know what, you guys, you talk about this stuff in your little paper that comes up, tide lines or whatever it is,
Shoreline.
shoreline, something like that.
Is the property single family?
Yes, it is.
Single
Yes, it
family?
is.
Single family?
Yeah.
So I mean, the other thing the town needs to make sure of, and again, this is the first I heard about today, is this a permissible use
Correct,
in a single family district?
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's not a business, it's not a profit or anything, it's simply a trying to help animals out. So they all get, a lot of them get what they call TNVR, y'all are familiar with that,
We
then
can,
they're gone.
we can help you with the
You
process.
got 7 of them right now, kittens that are gone to
We have a job
outfit
BTRs.
that I can't think of the name of it, but they take them up north. But they've all been spayed and neutered, they've all had their shots, and they're all going, I can't, what's the name of the?
Darbster.
Darbster. Darbster takes them truckloads at a time, like 50 or 60 or whatever, and some little dogs.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
Citation was given on September 10th. First, your citation.
Notice of violation.
Notice of violation was on September 10th.
Whatever it was, yeah.
When did Mr. Hyatt apply for his?
Or come in to talk to you guys.
Talk to you?
It was a week later.
And he talked to me 3 days later, once he, saw the violation on his door. We had the weather come in, if you remember, so that kind of threw a wrench in a few things.
Wesley, just so you know, I'm helping him with the permit process. He doesn't know how to do it, so I'm helping him.
Yeah, I just wondered if there was a big gap of time between the notice of the violation and coming in for the,
As soon as it quit raining.
when's that gonna?
All right. Well, let's listen to the,
Yeah, let's-
to these folks as well. Thank you, Mr. High. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One other thing to run by you that's an accessory to this, but you guys talk about different things, getting somewhere, like I tell Eric or Mike or whoever, you need to come to my house for any reason, come on. If I need to go away, I'll leave you the key. We had a robbery there a while back across the street. We had Bill Howell, and what's the younger guy's name? I think he's still with you. Anyways, I left him with the key to the house, but I don't know how to work those computers, those screens and all like that.
Right.
So when you get done, put the key under so-and-so, lock the house and go. I know you guys can come through there, come through my yard, come in there, come knock on the door tomorrow and say, hey, we want to see this thing we're talking about.
Mr. Hyatt,
Okay,
let's
Sorry.
look.
thank you.
Oh,
You
she's
have
saying,
yeah, you have to leave
Thank you.
to come up.
yeah, I know it's another issue, but I just
Yep.
try to make you guys feel comfortable with that. You're not going to hear about trespassing.
Yep. All right, Mr. Hyde, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your
All right.
consideration of this. I know it's not something you guys probably wanted to do.
Mm.
Got anything, and it's the first time ever, but just let me get the permit. I'll get the engineer.
All right.
The engineer's already told me, he says, man, all you're gonna need for that is a couple more, maybe a couple tie downs or something
All
like
right,
that.
Mr. Hyde, we really need to let the other people speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hyatt.
All right. Now the neighbors who live next to them who had initially contacted code enforcement, Mr. Kelly Sheehan and his wife, I do apologize. I don't know. Haley Rodriguez would like to speak on behalf. Mr. Sheehan, you'll come back up for the other one, but just make sure to speak specifically to the cat patio. The other issue we'll talk about afterwards. So just talk about the structure, please.
No problem. Kelly Sheehan, nice to meet you.
Hi.
I saw that they're missing a picture on that's the other side of the house. So it's not just right there, it's around the whole back of their house. And the picture of the litter boxes, there's like 20 plus there.
Yeah, I have the photos from today of the litter box if you want me to show you again.
My main concern is that health, I didn't call the animal control, the health department called them. And the smell is so bad, you know, even when I'm mowing my lawn, I can smell that over the cut grass. We're about ready to have a baby here pretty soon, and I don't know, it's just not healthy. So
Okay.
I complained. I mean, I've lived there for a long time and it's just not right. 20, 30 cats coming over and peeing and pooping in your flower garden and stuff. It's just, I'm tired of it. And I tried to, you know, call somebody like, hey, at the health department, see what they're gonna do about it, and nothing was done. So here we are.
Okay.
But I just don't want that enclosure to hit my house during a hurricane. And it's not structurally sound.
Well, that's going to be determined by the engineer,
Right.
correct?
This is his backyard as well. That's the tree that just fell over in his backyard. That there's another one on the side of my house, but I'm waiting for that one to come crashing through my roof.
Mr. Sheehan, the photos you're providing, do you want me to submit those into evidence?
You can have them.
Okay, so I'll submit them into the file.
I have a question, Mr. Jan. This fence is
sir.
Mr. Hyatt's fence?
No, that's my fence.
That's your fence?
Yes, sir.
So he's your adjacent neighbor to the
Yes.
side?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Well, what happened was, a little while back, we had a storm and a branch fell on my fence and it put the big dent in it, you know, so I replaced it. The next thing you know, I got code enforcement calling on me about replacing my fence. I didn't ask him for half the money or nothing, you know, just the things are growing wild over there and there's all kinds of animals in my yard, pooping in my pool, birds pooping. They feed every animal in the neighborhood. Which, that's fine if you're out west or something, but we live in the city. And they're pooping all over my house and everything else.
Okay.
And just the smell is the worst thing.
They probably say they can feel the smell, but we can't. So I'm pregnant, I'm having a baby, my first baby, by the way, and I'm really concerned about because I can be around cats. And unfortunately, I don't have anything against animals. I'm an animal lover as well, but I have a concern right now because sometimes the cats goes to a property and they pee and they shit in front of the house, in the back patio. And if I don't have any pets, what I have to deal with? We try to keep the house clean, nice. I can't even sit in the patio. I can have my friends over the pool or anything because of the smell.
Ms. Sheehan, I got a question for you. Are those the cats that are in the enclosure or are these other wild cats that are just coming in your yard?
Well,
I guess I'm confused.
We don't know whose
I
cats
don't
they
know
are.
where
There's
the
so
car's
many of them.
coming
We
from,
don't
but
know whose they are.
Okay.
I don't know where the
But-
car's coming from. The thing is, they're in the driveway. I mean, we spend money cleaning our cars every weekend on Saturdays. And we have fingerprints for the cats on the windshield, on the side of the, our house. We have like a, how you call that? Honey,
Like a chair rail.
yes, they have fingerprints all over. And another thing is that they poop in the pool from raccoons. And
That they're feeding.
yes,
Anyways, about the health department, they did come out, they did smell something, gave them a notice, they cleaned up. And then a week or two later, it's back to the same thing. So they clean up, but then, you know, it's like, oh, we're coming over to check your house. We better get it cleaned up, you know?
So I have a question for staff real quick. So it sounds like we have a two-pronged thing, right? So we have the cage with animals within the cage, but then we have also the Hyatts maybe feeding animals outside of their home.
Yeah,
Do we
that's
have
separate by-
anything in the code maybe for that? Or
Yeah, so they just brought that to my attention tonight, Mr. Sheehan and his wife. They're going to submit that evidence to me tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm going to look into it. I'm going to go over the code if there is a violation of the code, it will be issued. Mr. and Mrs. Hyatt, whenever they receive a violation, as you can see, they're here tonight. They're very open to it. So if there is a violation, it will be issued, and I'm sure Mr. and Mrs. Hyatt will address it. But as of right now, because I just found out about it before the meeting, no violation has been issued for the feeding of animals.
Okay. Mr. Sheehan, how long you lived in that home?
24 years.
So you guys have been neighbors for 20 years.
Him and I used to be friends. I found that house for him.
All right.
And then they started with this zoo.
Listen, I get it, but we're neighbors.
Yeah.
So
that's why I
Mr.
called
Hyde
the
as
health
well,
department.
Mr. and Mrs. Hyde, we have to do the best we can to get along to the best of our abilities, right? Because we're
Right.
neighbors at the end of the day. And like Mr. Hyatt said, sometimes we need to depend on our neighbors. So I know who you are because I've seen your company around town and I know who she
I
is.
was born and raised here.
So I know
And
who you
so
guys
was he.
are.
And
So
like it's,
we'll do what we can to help them in regards to their structure in the back, number one, and hopefully curbing the feeding of animals and such in their home. But we can't blame them either, because when I wake up in the morning and go outside to my truck, I got paw prints on them too. Unfortunately, there are wild animals as well.
oh yeah. I got
So,
that.
the fact
That
that,
upsets her more than it does me, but
right.
we're
So,
spending good money. to
we will
clean
do
it.
everything that we can to help them. The building department is trying to help them to get their structure, building approved, I
Gotcha.
guess, if you want to call it that. And then they'll look up to see if there's anything to do with feeding animals outside their home so we can help curb that. But
Gotcha.
do what you guys can to be as neighborly as you can, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together.
I
man, no
called the
matter
health
what.
department. I didn't call animal control. I didn't call the
I
police.
got you.
I didn't call you guys. I called health department because their smell was bad.
Correct.
And they called animal control. I didn't call them.
Right.
So,
Okay, understood.
anyways, I don't want to take any more of your time.
No, you're good.
All right, thank you,
I
Mr. and Mrs.
appreciate your
Sheehan.
It's your time.
Thank you.
Have a great
Like
night.
I said, I don't hate animals. I think what she does is, like with doing her, the cats and everything is really nice. Like keep it in your house and keep the smell under control.
One
That's
more-
all I want.
Sorry, one more thing. I read when they go and rescue these cats, when they spay and neuter them, they're supposed to take them back to wherever they got them from, not let them loose in the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Can I
Thank you.
ask the staff, does Lake Clark Shores have any kind of regulations on how many animals, cats, dogs that a
Yes.
resident is allowed?
So I, as a code enforcement officer, looked through the codes. There's nothing that specifies the exact amount. Melissa, for the building department?
No, we don't have anything as of right now.
Do we then go to Palm Beach County and see if there's
Well,
a
that's kind of
or
what happened.
Florida state?
Well, that's kind of what happened was that the Mr. and Mrs. Sheehan or whoever contacted, they made a complaint. The health department did go out there, so they had the authority to look into it. And their facts and findings showed. So there's some things that the town can't quite handle. So that's where the county comes in, or as you said, the state can even come in. So it sounds like they did come, they had facts and findings, and I haven't read the report, but it seems like violations may have been issued, or there was a problem that was rectified. If it's continued and another complaint's followed, then the health department would follow up with it,
Gotcha.
or animal care and control.
Thank you.
My question is for Miguel, seeing as I recommended 60, but your professional opinion says otherwise. So in your opinion, what would be a fair assessment to give them?
I would probably shoot for 90,
90, okay.
to see if he can have enough time for the structural aspect of it.
Okay.
Because I don't know if his engineer is giving him a hard time, and I know how we do things here. So I think the 90, because if we're going to take it all the way till he has to get a final or a CO on it or a CC on it, then I don't even know if 90 is going to be enough. But if he's still continuing down the path that he is, where he's being cooperative and doing what he needs to do, and the engineer is working, and hopefully by the next meeting that he submitted his permits into the city or town, then I think he's at least going down the right path, and we can just keep the clock going for him that way.
Okay.
But we should check into him feeding animals and making sure that,
Yes.
it's very commendable what you do. I love animals a lot. We have our own pets at home, and please.
we had a nice little family of possums.
Correct.
They're now disappeared. They're gone. We had coons years ago. I caught them in a trap and I took them out to Okehee Park out there. I turned them out way back off the highway.
Okay.
We feed the birds.
Okay.
And there's no, all the cats.
If you could please come up and use the microphone. Thank you.
Deborah Hyatt, if there's any loose cats, they're not mine. I do not turn them loose in the neighborhood. I know what TNRV means. I know it means taking them back and letting them out. And that's what I do when I TNRV. I do not let them out in my neighborhood because I know that they won't live long. So, and I have one cat that stays outside because I can't get her to stay inside. I do everything I can to get her to stay inside and I can't. And I don't think, she might go over there. I'll try my best to keep her. If I have to lock her in a closet, I'll keep her in. But the only thing I feed out there are birds.
Thank you.
And if you guys look at the sign, being complaining about being fed pigeons and being shot, a lot of them. And we'll have somebody will come in and sworn testimony on that. Anyways, Lake Clark Shores is a bird sanctuary.
Right.
Okay.
These
So-
things, there's a law, a state statute against harming, molesting, bothering non-game wildlife. So
Okay.
if you're not a hunter, you're not doing this, and you're shooting, harming or torturing any kind of non-game wildlife, that's just like hunting out of season.
Okay.
So this.
So are we ready to make a motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm gonna chase my engineer and find out if he's mad.
Please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Hyatt.
Okay. Based on the testimony evidence presented in case number 24-0345, I move this board finds the response in violation of sections 10-91 sub A of the town code ordinance. Respondents shall comply to the count of the code and ordinance on or before
January
January.
21st,
what is it?
21st.
January 21st, 2025. If the respondents fail to comply with this order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed $200 per day may be. The assessment hearing will be held on January
1.
2025. And that's, I also like to add, Mr. Hyatt, if you could check with Eric or come to our meeting to let us know how this process is going. We need to know.
Oh, yeah, I will constantly.
All we need to know is how it's going.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need anything else. Huh?
I'll be over here pestering you. I'm having fun with this.
Yeah, so I.
Hi, Mr. Sheehan, thank you.
But the health department came out.
Okay, that's okay.
Closed the case immediately. They weren't going to come back.
Thank you.
Just-
Okay.
Okay.
We're just concerned about your engineer and getting that wrapped
I am
up,
too.
so,
Okay.
I
okay.
told him I threatened to burn his house down.
Don't do that.
That's on.
I'm not going to do that. He's a good guy. He really is.
Okay.
He's an older fella. He's not my age because I'm real old.
Thank you so much.
But he,
Thank you, Ms.
I'll
Sheehan.
catch up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And he's just,
Okay.
he's a good engineer. He's a good guy. He's always done me perfectly right. And I'm going to ask him, are you mad at me?
Okay.
Are you going to shoot me?
Okay.
Yep. All right, Mr. Hyatt, thank you.
Just check in with Eric every month. We've given you till January.
No, no,
No, no.
no. Check in with
Check
Eric.
in to say,
Check in.
Listen, I can't get the engineering. I've talked to this guy.
I'm
Let him,
going to get it. It's not that I can't get it.
Okay.
let
Okay.
him know what's going on. So he can
Yeah,
tell
just
us.
keep Eric and Melissa up to date.
Yeah, just.
I will.
Thank
okay.
you.
That's all
Okay,
we
Thank you.
have.
very
There
good.
you go.
And I'll run into Mike and Eric and
Okay.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Gotta do that.
All right.
We will send
You're
out
not gonna get
PTO.
rid of that. You're
Thank you,
just-
sir.
Besides that, when's this?
I'll
The-
give you all the numbers.
Melissa's asked me when I'm going to be here for the food trucks. When are the food,
Friday,
Friday.
5:30.
day after tomorrow?
Yeah, right out
Yes,
here.
sir.
Oh, I never heard of that. Should you ever heard of this? I said, no. I'm on the north side over there. You
It's
guys
just
don't.
business tax
Oh, it's in
receipt.
the shorelines.
Yeah, no, it's not.
A lot of those things I don't get.
Okay.
But you know about them.
Now I do.
Yeah.
Shoot, I said they have, the hard shell little tacos. They make like a.
Is there a second for the motion?
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay.
Anyway, that's what-
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried.
I think. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Next case,
Yeah.
I'm gonna chase this guy some more. I'm gonna ask him what he had to do to let me down.
Excuse me, sir, we have to take the next case. Okay,
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, Mr. Hyden. Have a good night.
So exciting.
Right.
It's too much
Same-
excitement for that.
Good evening. I'm Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon, representing the town of Lake Clark Shores. This is case number 24-0343. Site property owner is identified by Nuevo Mar LLC. Site property is 7512 Edgewater Circle, Lake Clark Shores. On 9/10/2024, a notice of violation was issued under section 10-91 sub A. Windows were installed without permits. A notice of hearing was issued on 10/11/2024. A reinspection of today's date finds that the violation still exists. A little information on this property, actually on this property owner. Nuevo LLC owns a few houses in Lake Clark Shores. They have been known and they've been cited for doing work without permits. Other properties from this property owner have come here before. They are not a repeat violator, but I need the board to know that multiple other properties have done work without permits. They did eventually pull the permits, but this is an ongoing thing. So just so you know, the permit for this was submitted on 10/17/2024. They have not paid the 4 times fee, which is $791.28, which would be times 4. It is my recommendation to give them no more than 30 days to come into full compliance. If not, I recommend a $250 a day fine be assessed. And just to repeat, this notice of violation was issued on 9/10/2024. I heard from the property owner once. I explained to her to reach out to the building department to speak to Melissa, which she did. And Melissa, do you want to give any information on it?
She just said she would come into compliance and it took her till the 17th of this month to apply for the permit.
Okay.
So she's not a repeat offender on this property, but she's a repeat offender on multiple properties.
Several, and it's always with remodels without a permit, windows without a permit, structural work without a permit.
And then she's not here.
No, she's not. And she's come to some of the other meetings before for the same thing. She did come into compliance.
She has come before the board before?
Yes. Yeah, this property's come before.
This property has?
Sorry, no, the owner.
Another property.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yeah, real quick on 4/5/2023, this property was cited. Let's see,
This, the same one that we're talking about right now, Eric? Or a different one?
a different one, but same property.
Same owner.
Yeah, same owner.
I think this Newfoundland, I think they own 5 or 6 houses in Lake Clark, but they also own other houses under a different LLC.
Correct.
That's correct, yes.
Because I think those houses have been in here before. I think I said the last time, I can't believe someone that does a lot of business, does a lot of business in our town. It just shows that who cares about the permits and all the other things.
And that's my concern, is that when remodels are happening or whatever it is, windows being installed, if the permits aren't pulled, and God forbid that property gets sold to someone and something happens, the insurance companies will not cover those claims, because first thing they're going to ask is, was this work done with a permit? And unbeknownst to some of these buyers, they just don't know.
Okay, I'll make a motion. Based upon testimony evidence presented in case number 24-0343, I move this board finds a response in violation of section 10-91 sub A of the town code of ordinances. Respondents shall comply with the town code of ordinances on or before.
Do you have to give them 30 days?
No, that's what I'm not gonna do.
That's what I'm saying. We shouldn't.
Let me look at the calendar here.
Please.
We, here,
I'll give her 7 days.
October 30th, 2024. If the respondents fail to comply with this order in a timely fashion, the fine the amount not to exceed $250 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on November
December 4th.
or December 4th, 2024, if necessary. Now, here's my question. In order to get this permit, they're gonna have to pay the 4 times the permit fee, correct?
Yes, which is $791.28 times 4.
About $3,200.
Give or take, yeah.
Give or take. Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
How many windows did they install?
If we pull up the photos,
I don't have pictures.
it's not in there.
Okay, well,
Okay, I can provide the photos at a later date, but so driving by the home, every window was taken out, and in the back, they stopped it, but I believe they were trying to expand the size, weren't they? Yeah, so they're actually trying to,
Down the whole wall in the back.
So it's structural. It's
So-
not, it's not just windows.
So it's not just windows.
No, it's windows and the structure.
okay, well, this one here specifically is on the window.
yeah, for the violations for the windows.
She's saying that there was a sliding glass door there.
Okay. And are they replacing it with another sliding glass door?
She said they are,
Yeah,
I question the value of the work that they're doing.
right.
That's the concern.
Right.
Okay,
I think the building official can ask for
Right, I think once he gets his hands on the permit, then that'll
okay,
come into play.
okay. All right, so we have a motion, and do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That's it?
That concludes our
Wow,
violations.
that was easy.
Yeah.
All right, do we have any board comments, suggestions, or updates?
Nope.
Nope,
Thank you.
hearing none. Then can we have a motion for adjournment?
well,
What?
thank you for taking over.
Yes.
Oh,
Nice
sorry.
Deb, Thank you. Great job.
to
Thrown to the
volunteer.
wolves tonight.
It was a doozy.
Yeah. A motion for adjournment,
So moved.
second?
Aye.
All right, I think we're all in favor of that.
Out of here.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
You.
Emily, do we need to do something with the contents of this?
Hold on. Just finish this here.